Hello, this is the ProSource Podcast. I'm Kevin Devine, Director of Digital Marketing Content for ProSource Wholesale. In this series, we'll focus on home remodeling, especially kitchens and bathrooms. You'll hear from those in the know, including our corporate merchandisers, showroom team members, and the trade professionals who ultimately make it happen. We're glad you've joined us. Enjoy. Well, welcome back to the ProSource Podcast. Today, we're joined by Laura Treiber from the ProSource showroom. Laura, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll start with something simple.
Yeah.
Who are you and and what do you do for ProSource?
So Laura Treiber, I am a kitchen bath designer with ProSource. I've been here, it'll be 10 years this summer. So I've been here for a while.
What brought you into the kitchen and bath industry? What inspired you to do this?
It's actually a funny story. So I got my degree in interior design. And at the time, I wasn't ready to be done with school yet. So they came out with a kitchen and bath certificate program. So I was like, oh, I'll do it. And kind of just after I finished that, kind of just fell into a job, another local kitchen and bath dealer here in St. Louis, and kind of fell in love with it. So here I am.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to ask why you weren't ready to leave school. Could be a variety of reasons there. So you've got a lot of people that get involved here. From your perspective, talk about that collaboration process between you, the homeowner, and the trade professional.
Sure. So it's really nice working with ProSource and the model that's set up, because having that contractor involved from the beginning, that trade pro, it makes my life so much easier. They've given me measurements. They told me what I can and cannot do a lot of times. So the client's coming in and they're prepared for what to expect on their projects and the layouts and the design.
So what impact does the member or homeowner's vision have on the project?
Oh, a huge impact. So because everybody sees things differently. I might see a kitchen project differently than the next designer or the homeowner. So definitely want to take the homeowner's vision with what can be done. And then also my vision of showing options to elaborate that vision. Maybe something different that they didn't think about, or maybe position of something that would completely change how the whole kitchen functions for them. So it's definitely a process, and it's definitely evolves with all of our inputs and background and knowledge. So
we're talking about background, talking about knowledge. How does the trade professional's experience impact some of the more intricate design aspects of the project?
Absolutely. So I can only design a kitchen as well as the contractor can install it. So if I have an intricate design, I want to make sure that trade pro can actually install it and do it to completion of how we all envisioned it. So if it is more intricate with a lot of different parts and pieces or customizing on site, we want to make sure that everybody's on board with that before we actually go through with the job. Definitely one of those things that's a lot of communication. So talk to him a lot or her, make sure everyone's on board. If there's modifications to be made, then we'll do it to make things easier. Maybe they see something different that could be built an easier way, then great. So we just kind of keep that communication open between all of us.
So a thought just kind of hit me as we talk about this. You're a kitchen and bath designer, in-house kitchen and bath designer for the showroom. Just so there's no confusion, how does that differ from the interior designer, for example, if that's the type of professional the homeowner's working with in that perspective? Sure.
So I guess you could say I'm more technical. So they're going to come in and they have a vision for the project as well, the kitchen and the bathroom. So we just kind of bounce each other ideas off of each other. So, they have an idea and it's my job to make that work. It's what they sold the client on. So it is, we just kind of work back and forth and see what we can do to get that vision for them. So it's just a collaboration.
Do you find they're pretty receptive to using your services?
Absolutely. Yes, okay. Absolutely. So I think also too, because a lot of times interior designers, their background is other things than my background. So it's nice to sit down and work with them and show the process of me actually sitting out designing the kitchen with them. So that way they're familiar with everything too. They know why I put drawer stack here or why I put the trash cabinet here, because we've talked through it all together. So when they go to present that to the client, they can talk about the reasons why we did that for them.
Okay. So let's take it the other way, away from the pro over to the homeowner. We know that they have needs that they're looking for in every remodel that may come along. how does that become a focal point within the design that you put together with any particular need or desire that they may have?
Sure. So any type of need or desire they have, that should always number one on my list. We want to make sure we accomplish exactly what they want. Typically, people don't do these remodel projects very often. So if there's something that they want, let's make sure we get it. Let's make sure it's something that functions properly for them. Just because they saw it on Pinterest or House or something like that doesn't mean it always works for them. But we can talk through options on that and things like that. So it is very important to always see the homeowner's vision. It's their kitchen. I'm not living in it. So, I mean, if they want something, then let's just make sure it works and function.
Do you find yourself, see, now you just sparked another idea. Do you find yourself letting your own influence instead of coming to that vision? You say it's not your kitchen, maybe not your bathroom, right, but how can you detach yourself from that sometimes?
So sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it is what it is. So everyone has their own opinions. When I design something, I always think about how I would use the kitchen. Make sure everything is right where I would need it. I think also too is that once you start kind of talking through why you did something, they understand why I would do that. Why that makes sense in that location, why it'd be easier for them. So sometimes it's interesting, you can only suggest so much, but ultimately it is their kitchen. So if they rather have something somewhere else than that I propose, then we'll do it that way. So yeah, you have to be open.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned earlier you're a little more technical. So let's talk about that. What technology do you utilize for your designs?
So we use a program called 2020 Kitchen and Bath. It is geared towards the kitchen and bath. So all of our cabinet manufacturers have their own catalogs uploaded. So all the specs, the colors, the door styles, everything's preloaded in there for us. So then we can kind of just go ahead and just use it and get our 3D visuals and our layout from there. So it is pretty exact.
2020 meaning more from a vision perspective as far as the name goes, not necessarily the year.
No.
No. So we're a little bit behind there.
Right.
So what sort of training have you had to use that?
Sure. So I went to school, got my degree in interior design, and then the kitchen and bath certificate program. I learned how to use that program in school. Okay. Obviously, like any schooling, you don't really learn anything until you're in the industry, you're actually using it. So picked it up really quickly, and that's just kind of goes from there. So there's updates every probably year or so that new things come out within the program. So keeping on top of that, of trends, different kinds of visual things I can do with there, just kind of keeping up to date with it is the main thing.
Okay. So I know we talked about this before, and I'm going to ask the question anyway.
Yeah.
How many projects do you think you've done?
Way too many to keep track
we can take a pause here while you count.
I have absolutely no idea. That's a hard number. So, if I had to just throw out a number, I would say maybe be a pretty big gap, maybe 200 to 250 a year.
Okay.
And I've been in the
industry. So not quite one a year.
No.
Or one a day, not one a day. So.
No. And so I've been in the industry doing this for about 14 years. About 13 years. So yeah. So it's a lot of projects.
I don't have my calculator in front of me, so I'll just say that's a lot.
Yeah.
We'll just go with that number. Okay. So now when you look back at all of those, is there one that stands out as being the most enjoyable, the most fun that you worked on? And if so, why? And in fact, I'm not even going to let you off the hook. You got to tell me one.
So there's several of them. So a lot of times too, it's the clients that make it fun. It's the projects that we're transforming their whole home. It's how how their living's changing, completely how they're functioning in the kitchen, their families and everything. So any project that we are moving walls and moving the kitchen and completely changing it has always been my favorites. So many clients that we've done big projects on, and it's just been fun. Like a lot of repeat business too. They'll come back and do their master bath. So it's great to always have those clients to work with again. And I think also too, working with interior designers, I think they also kind of almost push me a little bit to do a little bit more extra, so they have visions of different kinds of materials using. Maybe I can't spec it, but maybe I can put in the renderings, and that way it gets a realistic picture. Just kind of pushing the envelope a little bit on customizing and things like that. So those are always my favorite projects. I don't have one that, there's been so many amazing ones. That really kind of jump out at me, besides ones that were just really changing everything, which is fun, kind of starting from scratch.
So you like the ones that are more intricate, involve a lot
Yeah,
more.
absolutely.
Do you ever get some that are so small, you're like, oh, all right, fine.
All the time. And those are good too. I mean, it's fun because you share the excitement with the client. Again, this isn't something people do all the time. So they're excited to be a part of the project. And so you're excited for them. You're excited to show them the new trends, the new things in the cabinets, the new organization stuff, because it's a fun and exciting for them. So it's still, even though they're small ones and simple ones, it's still nice to have those simple ones every once in a while.
So somebody comes in with a half bath, you're going to be like, talk to somebody else.
No, they're still the fun ones. So yeah.
Do you have a preference between a kitchen project versus a bathroom project?
I do like the kitchen projects better.
You like kitchens better?
I feel like there's been a big wave of bathrooms lately, but I do like the kitchens.
What? Just out of curiosity, why?
I think the kitchens are more space planning on my end, more design on my part. Bathrooms are typically just, there isn't many things you can do with a bathroom besides doing like the tile portion. That's where you can kind of have a little bit more fun with, is like the tile and the finishes of the bathroom, which that's more the account manager side. So bathrooms are a little bit more simpler on my side. But I like the technical kind of space planning more of the kitchen.
So let's take it the other way.
Sure.
Is there a project that jumps out to you that was just extremely challenging, and how did you overcome the obstacles that you faced there? Or is it a type of project that you're like, okay, this one's going to require a lot more detail?
Sure. So I have certain members that definitely have more of those maybe higher end projects that are a lot more detailed and a lot more complex. So those are definitely ones that take a lot longer to sit and design. And it's just timing, really, just to try to plan it all out and make sure you get everything in there. But the complex ones are good. That's what keeps you kind of more engaged and learn as you go.
So are there projects that people come to you and you just know immediately this is going to give you angst? You can feel the ulcers growing within you?
All the time.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. There's some of them, and it might be just more or less maybe if it was a trade pro or a designer or something, maybe the last job didn't go as well as planned. Maybe there's things that happen, and so we have the next projects. And so you do get that a little more angst. So you want to make sure everything's perfect, for the next go around. So it varies.
That's so nice. And that's like the et cetera that you put at the end. It varies. There's a few variations. All right. So for some of the issues that, whether it's on the trade professional side or the homeowner side, some of those issues that they run into, how does ProSource as a whole go about addressing some of those issues?
Sure. So ProSource is great. So they're open. I mean, our main concern is taking care of that trade pro, obviously, in the homeowner. So whatever we can do on our end, whether it's expedited shipping, or maybe it's get a rep involved, or maybe find just a replacement product of something that's backward or too long. They're very supportive of whatever needs to be done to take care of them. We'll do it. So if it's using a vendor that we don't normally order from or at all, if we can get it, that's great. Let's do it. So they're definitely very willing to make sure we can take care of anything that we can on our end to make anything smoother for the trade pro and the homeowner.
Okay. This isn't necessarily in order, necessarily from a project perspective. It's just an idea that popped in my head. Do you sort of have like your go-to products, whether it be a particular brand, and we don't have to mention particular brands, but are there particular brands or particular styles that are like your go-to ones that you find yourself leaning toward more often than not?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are certain cabinet lines that I work with a lot. I mean, maybe 85% of my business is these cabinet lines. So I know the specs like the back of my hand. Like I know what can be done. It makes the things easier and quicker for me designing. So, those are kind of like my go-tos. I know what to expect with it. So, and same thing with like plumbing fixtures, anything like that. You have your go-to brand. So you just know things work. So you just kind of keep selling the same things on those basic things. I guess you just kind of get in your groove.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. So how important from your perspective is it to understand all the ins and outs that go on with not just product? We'll talk about it from two fronts.
Sure.
With what's going on with the products, but also what's going on with the trends in the industry, especially knowing how often that can change.
Sure. Yeah. Trends change quickly. So we definitely have to keep up on it. Unfortunately, being with Missouri, we're a little bit slower on the trend side here, but that's okay. So we try to, change out our stuff in our showroom and make sure we have current door styles. Make sure that we just have those things to show, because what people are seeing online and, all those different kinds of platforms, they're seeing all those trends. So they want to come in and they want to see that stuff because they might want that for their project. So we always try to make sure we have all those samples in our showroom to show them. As well as that we do change out our vignettes every few years we're changing out because things change. So, but also too, some trends don't always work in everyone's house too. So not every trend is for everybody.
I was actually talking to a couple suppliers about this the other day about how, the trends start in Europe. And amazingly, we think we're in the leading edge. No, they start in Europe. Then they work to the East and the West Coast. It takes maybe about 4 or 5 years to get there. And then about 4 or 5 years to get to us here in the Midwest. So we're already a decade behind in that regard.
Exactly.
So the question becomes, especially here in the Midwest, do you find that when it comes to trends, are people trying to adapt to trends that they're hearing about or seeing, or do they sort of create their own trends in that regard? Are we creating our own trend just by what's popular in this area?
Sure. I think a little bit of both. Okay. So kind of a common thing is that, trends right now, a lot of color, things like that. So people be kind of like shy, like kind of want to stay away from, but they want something. They want something current. They want something different. So let's say that they do an island in blue. Well, their comments are always like, well, we can always paint that later if we change our mind. So they already have it in their heads that they, it's safe for them because it's something they could change later easily. So it is kind of hard, I would say, that trying to get a lot of people on board with certain trends, but I feel like they're open to it if it's something that they could change in 10 years when the trend might change.
So let's just hit on that and say, what trends specifically are you seeing both with kitchens and bathrooms right now?
Yeah, so a lot of color. Blues, greens, just a lot of color, a lot of natural woods. A lot more lighter woods, natural looking. Even we have some faucet lines are coming out.
Not with natural wood faucets, right?
No,
okay.
But there is some faucets out there coming with wood details on
really?
them. Coming out with crystal details, acrylic details, and then also to just the finishes, mixing finishes. Faucet might have gold and black on it or chrome and black, So the mixing metals, also too, there's a faucet line out there that's coming with these hoses that are you can get pink and purple and orange. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy things that are coming.
So we're getting the color that's actually hidden and then you see it.
Yeah. So a lot of colors coming still. So which is nice to see. It's something different than just your standard brush nickel finishes on white cabinetry.
How much in your designs are you seeing technology fit into this, especially in bathrooms? The Bluetooth capabilities that are out there now. You can just tell your shower to turn on what temperature to turn to, which, by the way, isn't in my home, but I'd love to have that. Are you seeing that a lot? And how do you incorporate that into your design?
So, yes, we're definitely seeing that, especially with faucets. Alexa, everything within be Alexa. I mean, even a client actually had to train me on it. It was an exhaust fan that was Bluetooth, and that they could.
Okay.
So, I'm like, oh, okay. So I looked up and sure enough, there's just so many things, technology ways that are coming, things you don't think of, that they might, know before us. So, but definitely a lot more technology and stuff.
I feel like we're getting pretty pampered here. Are we going to do anything for ourselves now, or is Alexa just going to do it all?
Seriously, yeah.
So, okay. So what sort of evolution overall? We've touched on this, but what sort of evolution have you seen in the realm of kitchen and bathroom products?
Sure. A lot more, I would say, simplicity in the designs, with cabinet door styles, with just the overall looks, very clean lines. Definitely kind of just going a lot more simple, a lot more wood tones, mixing finishes, mixing metals. So it kind of it's almost like anything goes these days. It's kind of personal preference. Okay. So which is kind of nice because you don't have to match, your brush nickel to your stainless to your, everything has to match. It's just kind of like everything is what it is. And it's just kind of stands out a little differently.
Does it become almost sort of an eclectic approach?
A little bit. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Again, there's no right or wrong. So, I mean, if it all coordinates, that's our job. Make sure it all coordinates. It looks good. But yeah, it's a little bit funner these days.
Okay. So simple, but with a touch of Alexa.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Gotcha. All right. So we touched on this a little bit earlier too. So let's circle back to it. How do you work in cooperation with the account manager? Are there specific lines drawn, or is it a true team effort that you just collaborate together?
Sure. It's definitely a team effort. Absolutely. So, they will have the first initial meeting with the homeowner or the trade pro. They'll gather all those informations. They will start doing selections with them. So they're definitely the first one up to do a lot of that legwork that makes it easier on my end. But then also too, is that sometimes they might pick something out that I'm like, oh, that might not be on budget. Or, or this line actually has something that might be better for them. So those are all things that, I can go back and talk to them, or we just discuss at our next meeting with the client. So I do rely a lot on them to get all that information to give me a good start before I go back to the client with it. So it is definitely a team effort. Absolutely.
And so this was a question we had asked Mark, which is, do you find that the account manager is helping them pick the flooring first before we get into the kitchen and bath products? Is it more we're picking everything all at once? And then I guess you could take it on the flooring side, because it seems like you're saying you don't get involved in much as the flooring selections. That's more to the account manager. So how do those products that get chosen impact your design or your product recommendations?
Sure. So luckily our account managers are very well trained. So they know our product selection very well. So that's it's easier for them to kind of know our kind of lines to put them in a certain line. So typically the account manager will start with something. They'll pick something first and kind of just evolve after that.
It's not like the account manager just takes it to your point, hands it off to you, and walks away.
Right. No.
There's still an involvement
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely. They always are involved, because after I do the design, then they need to take a look at the design and say, okay, for like a kitchen to backsplash, like, okay, so you're going to take your backsplash up all around your hood, all the way to your ceiling, stuff like that. So they're still involved in that design part of it too, because they need to know for their end as well for material. So a lot of times, we'll tag team appointments. So, the initial meeting that they might do all the selections. And then if there's time, then I might sit down with them and start doing some preliminary design. And then they go back out with the account manager and start looking at more specific on material. So we kind of work it however the client needs to work it as too. But we definitely are a team, because it's both of us in that project.
So you think about the realm of products that we offer, and I've really just been looking for the opportunity to use the word realm here in our discussion. But flooring, you've got maybe carpet doesn't impact your designs quite as much for a kitchen or bathroom, but you've got luxury vinyl, tile, hardwood, laminate. On the kitchen side, cabinets, countertops, hardware, faucets and sinks, and then bathrooms. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Right. I'm just saying it really for everybody that's watching and listening, but bathtubs, showers, vanities, faucets, sinks, you've got it all covered.
Right.
Do you feel it's fair to say ProSource is in fact a one-stop shop?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And clients love that, because they come in and they don't know. They don't know that they need all of these different parts and pieces to their project. They have no idea. And they come in and they're like, oh, we can do everything here. Like, absolutely. And that helps us more too, because we want to make sure that like what we're picking out, if they go somewhere else, pick out a floor but the cabinetry here doesn't match, or the countertops, and we don't want that to happen to a client. We want to make sure they can see it all and everything works together too. So it makes everything much easier, I think, on everyone's end, that they can do it all together.
Do you feel too that it can be confusing if they go out and they're looking at product elsewhere and they're coming back and they're trying to cross compare to what you've got, especially in the kitchen and bathroom? Cabinets and countertops are often custom to that kitchen, at least sizing wise and shape wise. So is it even, how challenging can that be when they've come in and they've shopped somewhere else and they're trying to make you compare to that? Right.
It gets challenging. It's one of those things that everybody wants to shop around and see different stuff. They want to go to other places and they want to see what else is out there, what's on display, different combinations. So I understand. But as long as they're coming back, then we're going to we'll be able to match them if they found something else different. Hopefully we could cross over that to something that we offer and get them still that look that they're settled on. So luckily, ProSource offers a lot of different vendors and manufacturers that we have access to a lot. So a lot of times trying to find something that crosses over to something they found somewhere else isn't a big deal.
So bringing them back in, beyond the product, what do you feel are some of the ProSource advantages of, if you're trying to say, look, here's why ultimately you want to go to this. It's not just the product, it's everything else.
Right. Exactly. So it's kind of like instead of, they have a whole team working for them. So they have myself, they have an account manager. If they're doing windows and doors, they got that specialist. So they have all these people that are specialists in their individual departments that are working for them. They're part of their project. It's not just one person that may know a little bit about this, a little bit about that, that's trying to pull it all together. We all have our specialties. So I think they understand that and appreciate that they have a team working for them. So, and also too, is that like, if they have a question about something, they can call that account manager or they can call me. There's always somebody going to be available for them too, to help. Also too, is that usually by the time they get to us, that the trade pro has a relationship with us. So they're kind of already know what to expect. The trade pro knows what to expect from us and stuff. So it does make a very seamless project.
So we talked a little bit looking elsewhere, and we talked about the breadth of products that we offer.
Yeah.
See, I broke away from Realm and used breadth there when talking about it. How do you keep a consumer, trade professionals sort of get used to this, but how do you keep a consumer from just being overwhelmed and looking at all of this and saying, whoa?
Right. Right. So usually we just try to like narrow things down for them. So, if they're looking for a specific tile, then maybe that account manager goes and pulls out 2 different tiles of what they're looking for. So they don't have to wander the aisles of looking through everything themselves and feeling overwhelmed. So it's our job to kind of guide them to what they're looking for, not just to kind of just be like, pick something or here's a catalog. Like it's our job to guide them to what they're looking for and to know our product. So hopefully that makes it easier for them to kind of branch off from that.
Okay. So when we talk about products, what's sort of the future? Where do you see products going from here in both the kitchen and bath realm?
I think color.
You're going back to the color again. Dipping from that same well.
Definitely color. I mean, I think we touched a lot about it. So Bluetooth, Alexa, I mean, all of that technology, I feel like a lot of stuff's going to that. And then also just creative storage things and cabinetry too. We're seeing all kinds of different things coming out with that. Things that are motion too, for your trash cabinets open if you kick your foot underneath a toe kick, all the kind of stuff, again, that everything's just gonna be working for itself. We don't have to touch anything anymore.
Right.
So it's the technology, it's the trends, it's the colors, it's everything. Everything keeps changing. New stuff keeps coming out all the time. So
actually, because you brought up the storage, I've often had that thought. We'll say that the consumer doesn't know what they don't know.
Right.
How is it that they may not know what storage needs that are even available to them for what they have? Or do you have like probing questions that you get to them to say, look, we have like 9,000 different storage options here. What challenges are you facing so you could find what would work for them? Right. Absolutely. So a lot of times I always ask like, what storage do you need? What do you have that does not work in your kitchen now? How can we solve that? Is it your Tupperware drawer? Does that drive you crazy every time? Like, all kinds of things like that. Just asking those questions about how they live their life and function in their kitchen. It kind of helps you like, we have this great thing, it holds all your K-cups for you at your new beverage area, all that kind of stuff. So all those little things is what clients get excited about because that does help them in their day-to-day life when things are new, organized and in a certain spot. So, it's just one of those, it's just talking to them a lot, just asking them if they have pictures, if they've seen inspiration things that they like. Usually they're not shy about telling you what they've seen and what they like. Okay. Yeah. So what motivates you you've been at this now, for 14 years, but here at ProSource for 10. Yeah. What motivates you to keep coming in and keep doing this each day? Every day's different. Every client's different. Every project's different. Everything's different every single day. So, which I think that's what excites me, is just that every homeowner is different. So it's not I'm doing the same thing every day, but I'm doing it differently every day. So I think that's the fun part about it. It's the challenge. It's just different every day. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. All right. So we just call it challenging. Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate you joining us here today and talking to us. Laura Treiber, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Well, we appreciate you joining us on the ProSource podcast. Please like and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, follow us on social media, visit our website at ProSourceWholesale.com, and visit your local ProSource Wholesale showroom for all your home remodeling needs.